In this town, if you want justice, you have to take it. Cynthia Rothrock as Christy Jones. A street fighter searching for a man who murdered her sister. An undefeatable champion driven by insanity.
What are you doing with my wife?
If he can't have Anna, he'll kill anyone who even reminds him of her.
Come on, tough guy!
Sergeant Nick DeMarco knows his name.
Free!
Christy Jones is determined to find the killer.
You're crazy. My name's not Anna.
But every wasted minute costs another life.
I'm talking about my sister. Your ass is mine.
Big mistake, Red.
No.
Bitch! Before you ruin my mood!
Shockwaves rock the city.
We're gonna start another gang war.
Well, I tried to wait for you, but they jumped us.
You've got a lot to learn about police work.
Nick and Christy team up.
It's all your fault.
Jennifer, run!
With the help of a beautiful psychologist, Christy and Nick unite in a fight for supremacy. It will take every ounce of muscle, every skill, every technique to end the fatal desire of this madman.
Welcome to They Called Us a Movie, testing the strength of friendships one terrible movie at a time. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or other podcast services by searching They Called Us a Movie, and find us on Blue Sky, Threads, and Instagram at TicTanPod. That's TCTAN Pod. Welcome back to They Called Us a Movie. This is Anthony Delvecchio. With me as always is Dan Aquino and Mark Meyer. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, friends.
Hello, everyone. I know you guys are still a little early in it, but I can't wait to see what exactly happens with your kids as they grow up. But I had a really good interaction with my youngest niece and had that click moment of, okay, she finally gets the fun, sarcastic sense of humor. So I'll explain the story. So she was explaining to me, I guess there's this new thing on Instagram where they put stickers that are also GIFs or whatever. And she goes, yeah, so you put the sticker on and it's like a GIF. And then I just leaned over to her and went, excuse me? And then she just smiled. And then we went back and forth 6 or 7 times saying it the 2 different ways. And I'm like, okay, she understands, she's not getting mad. She's playing along with the joke. I was like, all right, good. She, finally at that teenage age where you can, do sarcasm and it either won't go over her head or, confuse her. But yeah, I love these little milestones with at least seeing it through my nieces. And it got me thinking about it because, your 2 are hitting a couple milestones in the last.
Do you think your niece speaks that as a second language now? Sarcasm?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Sarcasm. I bought her a shirt that says sarcasm loaded. So.
That's such an uncle thing to buy.
No, I didn't actually buy her that, but I would do it.
I believed it. That's why I honestly thought you would have done something like that.
Oh, I got to figure out other things. She's a lot easier to do the joking stuff with because she'll get the joke and then sort of come back with something. The other one just either gets confused or, is like the sigh and roll eyes and walk away.
Ugh, that's why she's not this podcast's favorite niece.
No.
Does she listen to this? Do either of them listen to this?
Not to this one. I would have to say there might be a chance that Ashley do Game Vault Pod stuff. She
Okay.
definitely tunes into Jen stuff every so often.
And do you like how Mark he backdoored his other podcast? Very clever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's how you do it. It's, if you guys have been listening to that other podcast, you know that I've been pimping the Patreon over here, guys.
Hey, look at that.
I did. I heard you were talking about the Discord as if you were on there.
Well, if I don't have to be on there for other people not currently on there to pay money to be on.
That's true, but you were like talking about it like you spent some time there.
This is a team effort, guys. All right, we need all three of us need to be on there. We gotta pound the pavement.
I'm getting better.
Yeah, I was just thinking that today because you texted us in our chat that we have for just us three. It was Rex Manning Day today, and I was just thinking it'd be a great thing to post in the Discord. I wonder if he'll do it.
I actually completely forgot to do it. The only reason I did that is because my sister texted me in the middle of the like she got it way early in the morning. Normally I'm like, the one reminding her, and I was just so proud of her. It was on top of it and remembered that I sent you guys a message immediately afterwards, and then went to a meeting and then just forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
I'm still waiting. Listen, Anthony has he has no clue who his coworkers are. I don't think he's ever met them.
Nope.
Okay, so he has an excuse. Mark, you and I are in the office every day.
Oh, I try.
I'm still waiting. I know one of your coworkers has talked about some movies and recommended them. Where's this guy at? I need his dollar.
I keep mentioning it to him, but he didn't show up.
You're his boss now.
No, I'm not his boss. He's in a different department.
Wow. Come on.
The guy that shows up, the guy to pay for all the chicken nuggets, I am technically his boss. But he doesn't really listen to anything but sports podcasts. So
we do sports on here sometimes. Come on.
Yeah,
what are we doing
here? Sports ball?
Do we?
Yeah.
No, not really.
We can make a channel just for him if it gets his dollar.
Just all about the Eagles.
Listen, I will convert to an Eagles fan for $1. I hold no allegiance towards anybody. I would if Anthony could get some people. That would be. That would be an incredible. Listen, I don't know you guys, but you should really come to our Discord.
If I worked with more men, because let's face it, our demographic is not female leaning.
Fair enough.
Is that leaning for the ladies? But we talk about the want to see dick, so that's pro. You think that would get the women in the seats, but I work with a majority of women.
Okay.
And it really feels weird to suggest them listening to this podcast at all.
Yeah. I could understand, like, trying to pimp out your podcast. Like, it's coming on a little strong, possibly.
It's like, oh, what movie did you guys cover this week? Oh, it's a movie about a woman that pretends to be a cat because it's her fetish.
Who says no to that? Come on. You want to join?
Yeah.
Or we're watching a movie about a Yeti. Come on. I know women love Yetis.
It's just funny because like there seems to be, at least on my team, like just a lack of like media, not literacy, but just care. Like one person has admitted that she's like, I never watch movies. It's just any movie. Ask me if I've seen a movie. The answer is probably no. So it's like, oh yeah, no, I watch so many movies that I've started a podcast where I specifically make myself watch bad movies once a week.
So we got to make sure we get her on the Discord.
I'm sure she'll love it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's funny because a woman from my office, I kid you not, came to me today and was asking about it because her kids like watching bad movies.
That's funny.
It was great. So I hope she's listening to this, and I hope it. But she did recommend a movie for us to watch. So I do plan on getting to that soonish. Nice. I would like to make sure she gets her voice heard.
Very cool.
So listen, what I'm trying to get at is I am carrying this entire endeavor on my thin frame, and I need help, guys. My back is killing me.
The first cash out is to go get you a chiropractor.
Yes.
Get you more updated Smith machine. That to do.
The next
Start doing them
cash
squats.
out would be for a belt, a weight belt. Make sure my core is strong.
All right. Well, we've talked about it enough, but we're going to talk about our Patreon. When you go patreon.com/TicTamPod, that's TCTAM pod. And for just $1, you get to be a Patreon subscriber. What does that mean? Well, it means that you get exclusive episodes once a month, and also you get exclusive access to our Discord. And that's where everything is happening besides the exclusive episode. Because we are doing monthly polls where you guys get to decide what our movie of the month is. You get to suggest movies to us over there. You even get to participate in talking about what movies you're watching, what movies everybody else is watching. But not just movies, TV, video games, music we're talking about a lot. Yeah, it's a fun time over there. It's really encouraging people to watch more movies, go out of their, watch some movies that they might not have watched otherwise. It's happening over there. It's a good time. Dan just, we peer pressured Dan into watching a movie this week.
I'm glad you did. I've mentioned it to a couple of my friends that this Discord, and I'm not just saying it because I'm a part of it, but the Discord has really been super helpful in helping me scratch the surface on movies I've never heard of, genres that I haven't even really dug into. Like I know, Ant, you've gone into the Chow Yun-Fat movies, right? The Hard Boiled and all that, and Battle of Algiers was another one that was mentioned. So there's so many good recommendations, and the movie that you guys pressured me to watch, a Martin Scorsese film, After Hours, and I think it's a wonderful endeavor. This Discord, it's definitely doing its job.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can talk to all three of us there.
Just make sure to tag Mark multiple times.
You got to send up the flare.
Yeah, act like you're trying to send me an email at work. So you send me an email at work, you tag me in that email, and then you follow up on Teams.
There's a whole chain. There's a whole way of doing it.
Yeah. So Dan has finally watched After Hours, and now we can go back and talk to Joseph Mignon again.
Yes.
Now that we've, now he's finally watched it.
Yeah, I didn't do my homework necessarily for that.
It only took you 6 years.
Yeah. I was telling one of the Patreon members about how Joseph Mignon has had an everlasting what's the term? He's had an effect on this podcast because we used to have a different sign off.
Yeah.
And then Joseph Mignon was like, maybe change that. And we did. So he's almost like the patron saint of this podcast a little bit.
Yeah, we just only told people to go fuck themselves 100 times, though.
Yes, we could. Well, have we ever thought about going back and just changing that? That would be a lot.
Yeah, I feel like you realize how stupid of a statement that was going to be as you were saying it.
Yes, yeah. I didn't realize it was that many episodes where we would tell the director to go fuck themselves.
95, it looks like.
Oof, yikes. I thought it was in the mid 50s.
No. Because we interviewed him in August of 2020.
Right. I can't believe it's been 6 years almost.
Yeah. And we were at 95 episodes then. Hell Comes to Frogtown.
It's a banger, man. I love Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Yeah, and his movie was the Motorama was the one that spurned that interview idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because we had watched Vampire's Kiss prior to that.
Yep. That was a good year for us, 2020. I'm looking at the movies that we watched.
That's an interesting thing to say.
Yes. Look, we've talked about being nostalgic for the lockdown period of time.
It's funny when I went back and looked at it. You said August 18th. Like we had just bought our house, so we were getting ready to move in. So it treated us wonderfully. Because I think you bought your house the same year.
Beginning of 2021.
Beginning of 21. There you go. So it actually worked out favorably for.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I could pinpoint which episode, the last episode that we recorded in the old house versus the first one we recorded in the new house.
I remember recording that interview with Joseph Mignon in my in-laws' kitchen. We didn't have anywhere else to go. So how
Yeah.
times have changed.
And my last episode was Evolution, and my first episode was Leprechaun in the Hood.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. So yeah, long story short, patreon.com/TickTamPod. That is where it's happening. All right. This week we watched a movie, and it was Mark's pick. So
Yeah.
Mark, introduce this week's movie.
Yeah, I would love to have a long introduction for my reason behind picking this movie, but essentially, I saw a Cynthia Rothrock movie pop up on Tubi, and I was like, "Have we watched this one before?" Didn't think so after watching the trailer, and then went, "All right, we're gonna do it." Just because we haven't had a fun, we haven't done a Cynthia Rothrock movie in a while. But yeah, this one, early on, I was getting a little nervous because of conversations of another movie that Aunt watched that was mentioned on the Discord. And I was like, oh no, did I pick a movie that also promotes a lot of this? But it eventually cooled off that a bit after the very beginning. But yeah, this was watching her kick ass and having the weirdest rules for a fighting tournament I've ever seen. And just I thought it looked like I was hoping for a lot more early 90s-ness, but there wasn't enough of it. But it was fun nonetheless for me.
All right, so Undefeatable from 1993 is directed by Godfrey Ho. It stars Cynthia Rothrock, Don Nyam, John Miller, Donna Jason, Sonny David, Emil Devazik, Gerald Klein, and Michael Sinclair Walker. IMDb score of 4.8, Rotten Tomatoes score, no critics, just 56% audience. Plot. Joey Buttafuoco has a mental breakdown when his wife leaves him, so he goes around finding women that vaguely resembles her, then kills them and takes their eyes. It's up to gang member Cynthia Rothrock and a pencil-neck detective to try and find him before he kills again. Dan, where are you coming from with Undefeatable?
So we touched upon this right before recording, where I had asked how many Cynthia Rothrock movies we watched, because partway through watching this, I kept thinking to myself, did we already cover this movie? It seems very similar to another Cynthia Rothrock movie. And the movie I was thinking of was Rage and Honor, because there are similar scenes. Like there's fights in an alleyway, there's fights in warehouses. But yeah, this movie I had never seen before, thankfully. And I agree with Mark, where I was expecting a little bit more 90s style in it. This movie seems like it's kind of stuck in the late 80s. I dug this movie. I was having some fun with it. The over-the-top acting. At first I thought, you said Joey Buttafuoco. I thought it was Rufus Sewell.
Sure.
Man,
Yeah.
like this guy looks just like Rufus Sewell, the guy from A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what was happening at first. I thought the sister was married to Paul, the rapist, cage fighter, or like street fighter guy.
Yeah.
So when he I guess the wife leaves, Anna leaves, and then he becomes the Terminator.
Yes.
But for like brunettes, he's just going after all brunettes.
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Brunettes in floral print dresses.
Right. It's like he's going through his list of whoever's wearing the dresses. I was hooked, because like this is such a unique take on a character who has really bad mommy issues, and he's just deciding to kill these women for some reason instead of just like holding them hostage. Because if you want your mother to come back, why are you killing all these women? It's very all over the place. And for a decent amount of this movie, it follows the pencil neck cop, Nick, who is so boring. The cop characters are so bland. I grew bored with them. Like, when are we gonna get to Cynthia Rothrock? It was like, whenever she's not on the screen, where's Cynthia Rothrock?
Yeah.
Why can we not have more of her?
This seems to be a trend with Cynthia Rothrock movies.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Right, like, because we were saying the same thing about Chad McQueen, and I think that was Martial Law.
Yeah, that's Martial Law.
Where it's just, there's too much Chad McQueen in this movie, not enough Cynthia Rothrock.
Yeah, and it's funny because she is usually top billed in these movies, right?
Yeah.
She's on the cover art and everything, but they apparently have her. I'm jumping ahead, but towards the end, she almost plays no part in it,
Mm-hmm.
which boggled my mind. But we'll get to the end, which is it totally bombs the ending, I thought. But Cynthia Rothrock is charismatic enough. She's a good enough fighter where the action scenes are fun to watch. I mean, they get a little repetitive. I feel like a young Zack Snyder probably took notes from these movies where it's every fight scene has slow motion in it. And I understand it's probably to pad out the runtime a little bit. It's an hour and 47, so maybe the director just really enjoyed his slow motion. But the one thing I will say, there's a few things about this movie that are, it's not great, but the main issue with it was the dialogue. The dialogue is very stilted. I remember reading on IMDb that apparently a lot of the co-stars had difficulty remembering their lines. So Cynthia Rothrock had to tape like cue cards to her forehead so they could read their lines. But there's one line of dialogue that I wrote down here because it really highlights how terrible it is. And it's Cynthia Rothrock is getting ready to fight the bear. A man dressed in
bear.
Yeah,
bear.
It's just some like redneck white dude in football pads.
I'm glad you brought this fight up because I have something to mention after you talk about this.
Oh, it's an interesting fight, and I think I know where you're going with it. But so they're getting ready to fight, and Cynthia Rothrock says, "Poor little baby bear had to steal his mother's Tupperware." And I don't understand what that means. Was this supposed to be a play on the Three Little Bears, or did she just think it's clever because it rhymed? And
well, the Tupperware was meant for the shoulder pads because it's plastic shoulder pads.
I did not get that at all. That's so
but yes,
bad.
I don't know where the idea for saying that phrase came from. But I think that's what they were trying to say. But again, like you said, the dialogue's terrible, and it's only me. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt if that's what they meant, because it was the really cheap plastic shoulder pads.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought she meant by it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that because I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah. So in that fight, they introduced the rules, which they don't talk about before the first fight. So they introduced the rules. And it goes, if your hand touches the ground, the match is over. And then immediately, right before the match begins, Bear goes down in a 3-point football stance, which looks like his hand is on the ground. They never show it, so they can make the excuse that it wasn't. But I'm like, he is definitely in a defensive lineman 3-point stance with his hand on the ground. Yep. And I'm like, doesn't that mean he automatically loses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the rules of this fight. Yeah. As soon as he gets into the 3-point stance, his hand is on the ground.
And it is over. Because you don't learn the rules. I don't know why they hid the rule. In the first fight, I love it's like when he has the move on her and was going to knock her over with the arm bar or whatever he had. And the hand's about to touch the ground and her one friend goes, Don't do it. You'll lose.
That's the first fight.
That's the first fight. Yeah. But yeah, I laughed immediately. El Diablo. That was the thing in the trailer I saw. I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be some fun fights with because he looked very 90s in terms of that gangster rap sort of stereotype of that time period.
I can't believe his name wasn't Chains, because he literally had chains around his body.
Yeah,
they called him El Diablo. Such a waste.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed in that scene was the hats they were wearing. I think it was I think they were a play on the Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation hats.
Okay. Sure.
And I'm just like, oh, that's where your stuck in the late 80s thing can come into play too, Dan.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that bear fight was just, there's multiple fights where it's just like when she goes and fights Lee because she thinks he's the murderer. That fight's ridiculous on top of all the oil cans. But I also like that they reused a couple shots of that one girl cheering Lee multiple times. It was the same shot. They didn't have her do it twice. But yeah, it just a lot of those little group gang things. And it's a question I want to bring up to you guys. I wish I had more knowledge of the late 80s, early 90s stuff, but how big was martial arts? Sort of, because it's they replace everything that would be a traditional gang with everybody's a martial arts gang in this entire movie. even the cop knows some form of martial arts.
The psychiatrist knows martial arts.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows martial arts in this one.
Yeah.
And I love that the first guy killed is like some world famous, kung fu person or something.
In the parking garage.
In the parking garage. But yeah, and I'm sure, and I feel bad not looking it up. I'm sure the guy that came in as an expert at the end was some famous, like kung fu movie person.
When I want to talk about that after Anthony says his part, but I have something written down about that guy.
As for me, I enjoyed this one. I had a good time with it. I think the least interesting parts of this film is the martial arts. I had a lot of fun watching Stingray just like Yul Brynner in Westworld, just kind of just walking around stiff like he's a Terminator. I thought that was an interesting twist on like the usual martial arts movie where it was like a serial killer movie, I guess, in a way. I mean, like it's not like a murder mystery because we know who's doing it, but
right.
I thought he was the most interesting part of it. He's not a good actor by no means, but his mullet's doing a lot of heavy lifting in this film.
It's a glorious mullet.
Very good mullet. And just the idea of him stealing everybody's eyes was unique. And yeah, I think I had an okay time with this. Again, the male lead steals the spotlight from Cynthia Rothrock at the end, as per usual in the movies that we watch for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, because these are billed as Cynthia Rothrock movies, but she never gets to glory at the end.
No,
which is weird.
I love the fact that the pants that the cop wore looked like those like karate pants that he was wearing when he was training. Like that he's constantly wearing those type of high waist pants at all times.
Yeah. He sucked.
He did suck. Just like as a cop and as a martial artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very lame. Just so boring. And what was the relationship between the cop and Cynthia Rothrock? Because when they first meet, it seems they talk to each other as if there is some connection there, but it's never really explained, right?
I don't think there is.
I think the connection is that she fights with gangs and is known to be in a gang. So
so
they probably run across each other before.
Okay, that makes sense because when he first brings her in, when Nick brings Cynthia Rothrock in, he's calling her Christy. He's treating her as if he's had this conversation with her before. So
I don't know. His partner pulls her file and he asks him, what she got on her. Like, just disturbing the peace, nothing major. And then he lets her go. And then the partner is upset that he lets her go.
Right.
He's making a mistake. Like, what are you talking about?
the partner gets on his case a couple of times. At one point, he accuses him of like having the hots for him.
Yeah.
So it's like clouding his judgment.
Which was obvious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because essentially what happens is the Terminator, his wife leaves him. I don't think we ever see her again.
No.
Nope.
And he goes on a killing spree of 30-year-old white women with floral dresses. He winds up killing Cynthia Rothrock's sister. And immediately Cynthia Rothrock just goes to fight random people. It devolves into random fights at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the cop brings her in. So the cop brings her in to identify the sister's body.
Yes.
Tells her to like, hey, don't do anything crazy. She immediately goes and fights someone. The cop then comes back and brings her in and lets her go again.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, that is a little shaky police work.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I do want to talk about an unsung hero of this movie.
Okay.
It has a single line, but the mortician, not the mortician, like the coroner, I guess.
The coroner, yes.
Pretty good.
It's just it's like an insert shot. Like they put it in, like they shot it after everything else. Like they forgot something because it's such an odd shot.
Like the lighting is off, right?
The lighting is completely different. It's almost like a purplish blue tint to the shot. but he's just coroner creepy, really.
It's like a horror movie shot.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the line he says? This could be difficult.
Yeah.
Like, what? Where did that come from? I noticed that too.
Yeah, it comes out completely out of nowhere.
Hey, he makes the most of his one scene.
Mhm.
Very memorable. The one part I wanted to talk about that I had brought up earlier was Paul, the Stingray. He's known as the Stingray, as Anthony said. He has this special move. I think it's like a tiger claw or eagle claw or something.
Yeah.
Where the way he hits you, it leaves a mark. So all of the murder victims have this mark. And they bring in, as Anthony mentioned, or Mark, I think you mentioned, they brought in a martial arts expert from Japan. And he's going over this move list, and it's like, oh, and the cop says, this could, he says, no offense, but our list just got larger. And there's really no offense to be taken with that. There's nothing to be sorry about. You're just stating a fact. And then the martial arts expert goes, quite the contrary. I know 3 people who know this move. And so they go to inspect these people. None of them are the killer. So, well, that was pointless then. Why would we bring this in?
Yeah, I love the reveals.
Right.
Like the one guy being away for a month, and I'm going, why does that give him an alibi? He could be doing these murders and not coming home.
Yeah, like they don't know if he's really gone.
Yeah. But the best was the reveal of the guy in the wheelchair. That one gave me a chuckle.
Yeah. The guy in the wheelchair. And everyone's like out of shape.
Yeah.
These are their martial arts masters.
Yeah. And I think I didn't rewind to double check it, but I think the icing on top of the cake with the guy in the wheelchair is I also think he only had one arm.
Oh, sure. I didn't notice, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It was like the most obvious thing that this, and I knew that it wasn't going to be something not funny, but like something that wasn't like dangerous when they sent the other cop to that guy's house,
right?
And not our main ninja cop, or whatever over there. And then I love how you could tell the third guy had some history with the cops. He's like, oh, the cop's here. I'm out of here.
Yeah, but what is that? That's something that should have been explained, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're introduced to this guy who's not he's not the main villain, but he has a history with the cop that we have no clue about.
It's crazy.
It feels like a scene that like maybe it was a reshoot. Like, oh, gee, we need to pad out the runtime here, so we need another fight scene. Let's just throw this in there when Cynthia Rothrock only fights one person and the cop fights 5 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an interesting little tidbit about this movie.
Okay.
In China, it was redubbed into Chinese, and it was called Bloody Mary Killer. And there was an entirely second plot that starred the Mortal Kombat movies Liu Kang, Robin Shu.
No
Robin.
shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He rules.
Yeah. I'm curious of what that movie, what his plot in the line was.
That's so weird, redubbing this movie of all things.
I would love to see that cut.
Yeah.
Was he in one of the other gangs?
When does Mortal Kombat come out? 94? 95?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
94.
Yeah. So I think he kind of blows up after that. A little bit. Not crazy big, but he becomes a little bit more well-known. He's in a couple other movies, right? He's in Beverly Hills Ninja with Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see him. He's a solid actor.
Yeah.
I don't think you really see too much of him recently, but yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch that movie. Although, this movie was fun though.
Yeah.
Can we?
And Robin Shu plays an undercover cop in the Triads and with a secret list or something. Charming details that all people in the film know some kung fu and also elegantly dressed women. I'm just reading some blog about this. Yeah, some blog that talked about this. That's all I got. That's all I got about Robin Shu's involvement in Bloody Mary Killer.
You guys brought up how everybody knows kung fu or some sort of martial art, and
yeah,
it got to be a little ridiculous, where to the point where I kind of rolled my eyes because all right, so you have the gangs fighting, and then you have the cop who knows kung fu, but then the the sister knows kung fu.
Mhm.
There's random people who just know, like
The secretary.
the secretary, the
Not the secretary, the
psychiatrist,
therapist. Yeah.
the therapist, the two goons at the beginning. One of
Mm-hmm.
them knows martial arts, and I just kind of I understand it's a martial arts movie, but to me it takes away from the uniqueness of it, where everybody knows some type of fighting style.
Sure.
Right? Like, oh, I guess we just live in a world where everybody knows kung fu.
Right. It's like martial arts versions of like musicals.
Yes.
Like everybody can say, everybody has a set song and dance number.
Yeah, and everyone is like perfect pitch and everything.
Yeah.
I understand that there has to be action in your action movie, but it kind of takes away from the fun a little bit. Not to the point where I grow bored of it, but just how it can't be possible that everybody in this movie knows some sort of martial art.
Yeah.
It was the late 80s, early 90s, Dan.
Yeah.
Martial arts were huge.
And to your point, Mark, I think martial arts have always had that niche where it's popular enough. It kind of like, I guess there's peaks and valleys with it, right? Where it'll go away for a little while, and then like a John Wick will come out, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck yeah, martial arts," or like The Matrix, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it never fully goes away. It comes and goes.
Yeah, I wonder if there was like a resurgence of martial arts in like the 90s, because of guys like Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was a popular star. So there's a want to have it more movies in the market. But I also think I wonder, because a lot of these are like direct-to-video films, it's just cheaper production value, right? It's we can spend a lot of money on explosions and squibs and have this be like a shootout, or everybody knows kung fu and they're just kicking each other, right?
Right. Yeah. with very accessible scenery, right? You shoot in an alleyway, you shoot in a warehouse.
Yeah. So you keep the cost low.
Yep.
But you could kill a lot of time in a runtime, and for a fight scene, 10 minutes, right? And it's like, oh man, I only gotta figure out 80 more minutes. I got myself a 90-minute movie.
Yeah. You throw together a simple storyline, a revenge plot, right? And I think that's a simple way to make your movie, right? You have your main character, you have your main protagonist, your main antagonist, and the antagonist kills the protagonist's wife, husband, sister, brother, friend, whatever. And then it's just a straight up revenge story at that point.
Yeah. I like how this movie, the therapist, employs the same tactics that the final girl does in Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what's that?
Yes,
with Bing Mom. Yes.
I always told you to behave.
Yeah. So, if you haven't seen this, our completely mentally broken the antagonist kidnaps his wife's therapist, and then she convinces him that she's his wife, Anne, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then she convinces him that she's his mother, through tactics, by just yelling at him and berating him.
Right, there's no food in this refrigerator.
Yeah,
scolds him for no food.
Trying to get her a chance to leave.
Yeah,
right. And that was the other thing. Like Cynthia Rothrock doesn't even discover Paul's hideout by herself. She has to get a call from the therapist.
Yeah.
So Cynthia Rothrock is almost completely useless throughout the movie, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I don't mean that to be mean, but she doesn't solve anything on her own.
No.
And at the end, she doesn't even really bring down the bad guy by herself.
Right. I mean, she definitely doesn't do it by herself.
No.
It's mostly Nick.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, they couldn't let a woman do that.
Maybe? Is that what you think, right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Sure.
Yeah. If 90s was like, well, we can't have the woman saving the day. It's gotta be the man.
Right.
Or if she does, she's helped by a man.
Right. So it boggled my mind, and we touched upon it at the beginning, where the ending has a slow-mo, almost like freeze frame of like packing peanuts falling on them like snow. There's all this great choreography between Cynthia Rothrock and the Stingray. They're fighting with swords and they're doing all this kind of cool shit. And you're like, oh, this is actually fun. This is a cool climax. And then the cops show up and allow Paul to escape. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought the movie was going to kind of end there.
I was a little worried.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I guess he just gets away.
Yeah, because there's the whole scene in the warehouse after he kidnaps the therapist, and like he gets away, and then there's a scene in the hospital where they bring her to the hospital, and then where does the end take place?
In the basement of the hospital.
In the basement of the hospital.
Yeah.
Which is so much worse.
Yeah. It is a weird false ending to this movie. And I was thinking while I was watching it, where I was like, "Oh yeah, this is just what this sword fight needs. A sword fight that is essentially telegraphed, because we see her practicing with those weird swords, those keyblades, essentially, in the early in the movie, and then we finally get to see them, and then then the cops just come and start shooting the place up. Right. It was like, oh great, this is what that sword fight needed, was guns.
Yeah.
It was such a bummer.
Yeah, I have spoken the praises of John Woo gunfight action movies on the Discord and for the past few weeks, but like, time and place, people.
Right. Like, this clearly is not calling for gun.
Yeah.
Right. Throughout the movie, I don't think a gun is fired a couple of times, but as a warning. It's never used as the main weapon, right? It's hands and fists, it's fisticuffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you have this explosive finale, or like fake ending, essentially, where they're doing flips. There's real stakes involved here. Like Cynthia Rothrock is on the ropes, and she gets the keyblades. I don't know exactly what they're called, but like Cabal from Mortal Kombat uses them as his weapon. And you're thinking this is going to lead up to some really cool finale, only for the cops to show up and use their guns, and one of them is killed by a gun from Paul, who never used a gun throughout the movie.
Right.
So you really dropped the ball here, and I don't really care about what happens now, because you kind of blew your load here.
Yeah, because like you said, it was setting up to be the finale with that shot of the packing peanuts falling from the sky.
It's such a funny visual, but it's cool enough.
Yeah, I get what they're going for. I don't know. It sounds great on paper, I bet.
Right. And they envisioned it a completely different way.
Yeah.
Well, what do we have in a warehouse? Packing peanuts? Yeah, use it.
Yeah. We never even talked about how our villain meets his end.
Oh, yeah.
That is literally carted off this mortal coil.
A very poetic way for him to go.
Yeah.
As he gets impaled through the eye sockets on a couple of meat hooks and then just gets taken away.
And that's it. We don't see what happens to him after that. No. Oh, and I think this goes to your guys' argument about it being with the 90s and like women can't save the day. Cynthia Rothrock, when Paul gets carted away on the meat hooks, Cynthia Rothrock says, she has a action one-liners like, "I'll see you around."
Yeah.
And then, as if, to your point, as if the writers or the actor said, "Fuck that, she can't have the last word." Nick, the cop, says, "Yeah, see ya." Yeah, like she put it better. We got it. Yeah. We got the pun, so you just let it go. But that makes sense, because it's almost like women can't have the final say in an action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is, outside of it being sexist, it also feels like it was kind of racist. When you go to the people in her gang didn't go to college because their IQs are too high.
Oh, Jesus. Because she hangs out with Asian guys.
Yeah, and that whole ending was so weird. Oh, I signed you guys up for college. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Don't you laugh. I signed you up, too.
Yeah, everybody's just signing people up for college.
That's how that works.
Yeah. I enrolled you. You start on Monday. Who knows if it's the beginning of a semester or not?
Right.
In that scene, the one thing I was thinking of was just how much stuff she had to take off to signify that she wasn't in gangs anymore.
Oh, like her leather jacket.
And then she was like, I won't need these anymore. And all I was thinking was like, yeah, because I don't got to pay that girl's tuition.
Right. Yeah, it saves her having to fight for a living now.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. It's pretty dark, but yeah, listen.
All right. Final thoughts, Dan.
Yeah, this is a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it, but it has its flaws. Too much slow-mo in the fighting scene.
Yeah.
The misogyny is pretty apparent after we talk about it, where again, Cynthia Rothrock is top billed in this movie, but she barely plays a key role in it. Boring cop character. You know, what can you do with that? But there's some good action scenes. The dialogue is cheesy. It's some good schlock. Like Anthony said, the main villain, Paul, definitely steals the show. He's such a weirdo. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's fun. If you are into martial arts movies, I would say give this a watch.
Mark.
Yeah, so my final thoughts are mostly what Dan said. The movie was a lot of fun. I always enjoy Cynthia Rothrock movies. Even though, as we said, every time we pick one, I am assuming there's going to be more Cynthia Rothrock than there actually is. I honestly think the time her screen time surprised me the most was when we watched Yes, Madam, which is supposed to be more of a Michelle Yeoh. And I'm like, oh, there's just a good bit of Cynthia Rothrock in this movie. But yeah, it's if you can get past, I'd say the first 10 minutes when you first meet Paul and that scene, that's uncomfortable. But for the most part, it's your general, martial arts movie schlock and things like that of just really dumb reasons for people to fight and like things that go on that people should know about, but apparently nobody knows about. I'm talking about this whole fighting on this like underground fighting ring or something. And there's a whole bunch of stuff and how much those people they all wear patches. Feels very anime. The gang section of this movie. But yeah, like I said, the martial arts is good. There's a couple times I noticed in the fights where they were telegraphing where things were coming from. You could see them waiting, like looking over for the leg to come up before it does, instead of trying to make it all seem natural. But again, that's just bad choreography. But it didn't take away from the movie. Yeah, if you're into this genre or you just want to watch as many Cynthia Rothrock movies as possible, you don't have to worry about this one being a snoozer.
Okay. As for me, yeah, I had a great time with this. Again, I didn't think the fight scenes were that interesting, but Cynthia Rothrock is always fun to watch on screen. The villain is a unique aspect of this film if you're comparing it to other like-minded direct-to-video films like this. But yeah, it's fun. I had a good time. So that's all I really have to say. All right, we are finished talking about this film, Undefeatable. So we're going to take a quick break. Before we do, Dan, what do you got for us?
All right, guys, please go check out a very good friend of the podcast, the Game Vault podcast, run by Mark Myers and Tom Schuster. It is a video game podcast where they discuss video game news, games that they're playing, things that are happening within the industry, and just giving out advice for those who are into gaming, whether they be seasoned gamers or noobs. They have a lot of cool information, a lot of cool stories. So it's a great podcast. They put a lot of hard work into it. So you could find it on any podcast platform of your choice. So please make sure to rate and review. It helps them out a great deal. They are on all socials at Game Vault Pod. And they also stream on Twitch at Game Vault Pod, where they are playing old school games, current games, everything in between. It's a lot of fun. It's a great community. So please make sure to follow them there. It's a lot of fun to just hang out and chat with them. They are also on YouTube. If you search Game Vault Podcast, it'll pop right up with Mark talking about the video game news hour. So that's running down things that are happening in video game news within the industry. Very big stories. So please follow them there. It helps them out a great deal, like I said. And yeah, that about does it.
All right, great. We're going to take a quick break, and you guys are going to listen to some messages from friends of the podcast. So we'll be right back. And welcome back. Now, sorry for our third segment, and this segment is a recast. We haven't done a recast in a hot minute, so we are going to recast the major players in the movie Undefeatable. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
You'll go first?
Why
All
not?
right.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. So let us know who you're casting.
Okay, so let's start off with the main actor, Cynthia Rothrock's Chris. I'm going to go with someone who has starred in a couple of blockbuster action movies, so they know how to be rough and tumble. They can fight. They show that they have star power. I'm going to go with Brie Larson.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and it'll piss off the right people, so that's always a plus.
That's always positive.
Yeah.
All right, nice one. Next.
Oh, we're going just straight down.
Yeah.
All right, so then I'll go to Nick, the main cop. I'm gonna go with Aaron Taylor Johnson, another person who has been in plenty of action movies, knows how to fight. If you've seen Bullet Train, he does some good action scenes. So I'm gonna go with Aaron Taylor Johnson for the role of Nick, and also I cast his partner. I forget his name in the movie because he's bland and he's only in a couple scenes. Mike. All right, so Nick's partner, Mike, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, Bullet Train. His co-star in Bullet Train, Brian Tyree Henry.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to cast him because they had such great chemistry in Bullet Train. I would love to see them paired up again. It was so funny watching them go back and forth with each other. A lot of funny dialogue, and Brian Tyree Henry doesn't necessarily have to be a fighter, because I don't think the partner has any fight scenes. I know he dies at the end. Maybe we could change that around. But yeah, Brian Tyree Henry for the partner. And we'll go to Stingray, Paul. I'm trying to think of someone who can play absolutely insane and menacing. And I've seen this actor in a couple of movies where he nails the role. And I think James McAvoy would be a solid pick for Stingray.
Sure.
Having seen him in Split and Glass and the was it Speak No Evil remake?
Yes. Yeah.
He is very unnerving. So I think he could be a solid villain. I don't know about his fighting chops, but I'm sure he could learn. And finally, I cast Christy's sister as Chloe Grace Moretz, another person who is no stranger to martial arts movies, having played the hit girl in Kick-Ass movies. So that's my list. I have Brie Larson, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, James McAvoy, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Nice. Very good.
Thank you.
I think that Brian Tyree Henry pick.
I will tell you, he has been on my mind for quite a while because my son will watch nothing but Godzilla, Kong, and he is in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen quite a bit of him, and he's great. I love him. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
So I figured this is the perfect opportunity.
Have you ever seen Atlanta?
No, he's in that though. I know.
He's in it. Yeah. He's really good in that.
He's a phenomenal actor. I really enjoy seeing him.
Yeah. All right. Mark, you want to go next?
Yeah. So I'll start off with one of the first things when I saw I blanked on his name now. The main villain.
Paul Stingray.
Paul. Yeah. Oddly, when I first saw him in his face, and just a weird, odd casting. So I decided for just based on look, I decided to cast 80s Paul Reiser for that role there.
Okay. Are you doing a retro recast, or are you?
Yeah, retro recast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There's a theme to it. You'll get it.
Okay.
So and then next I went for like the cop, sort of guy, sort of similar age as Paul Reiser, and I decided to choose BJ and the Bears, Greg Evigan.
Greg Evigan.
Greg Evigan.
That's perfect. That's a perfect theme.
Perfect for Nick. And then
perfect for someone playing against Paul Reiser for Stingray.
Yeah, exactly. They were, playing opposite each other and things would be a great idea. And then, I had the therapist I went a little more with because she was in the movie a little bit more. So I decided to choose, the famous actress from Joyride, Amy Hathaway. Play through that role. She's got the look for it, nice blonde hair. And kind of fits in with the look. And then obviously I had to pick, Cynthia Rothrock's character had to be somebody that could play off the two main characters and sort of have a nice little chemistry there. So I picked Step by Step's own Stacey Keenan to play that character there. So, and if you're out there thinking, did I just use the cast for My Two Dads to recast this movie? You would be 100% correct.
So obviously I got the Paul Reiser, Greg Evigan. I had no idea who that third person was.
It's the next person with the most episodes in My Two Dads.
Amy Hathaway. Okay.
I think she plays her friend or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I was wishing there was somebody else that was a little bit more in the series. But yeah, because I couldn't just cast three of them. It would be I threw that third one in there to sort of confuse a little bit, because if I would have just said the three main one, would have gotten it right away. Or as Ant did, got it immediately when I mispronounced the guy's name.
What spurred this on? Were you watching My Two Dads today?
No. The whole thing was, I legitimately, what I said about Paul is true. I was like, it'd be weird if Paul Reiser from the 80s played, this character. And then I just looked up I wanted to make sure what he looked like, young at that age. And of course, My Two Dads is the thing from that time period. And I was just like, why don't I just cast My Two Dads in this and just see at what point Ant figures it out. Or does it get all the way to Stacey Keenan before they get it? Or does it happen before? But yeah, that was really the thing. The one that I came up on the top of my head was just, he just looked like a psychopathic looking, sort of Temu Paul Reiser to me for some reason, Paul.
Okay.
But then you said Rufus Sewell, and I'm like, no, that's more probably who I was.
Sure.
Yeah, he does look a lot like him now that you mentioned it. All right. For mine, I'm going to start with Christy. And I decided I am taking martial arts back from the whites.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it back. So I picked someone who is also in at least one blockbuster, Academy Award-winning blockbuster. And she is also in, we've already mentioned, Bullet Train. I'm going with Karen Fukuhara.
Ooh.
As my Christy.
From
she's
Karen Katana, yes.
She's also in The Boys.
She's great.
Yeah. As the female in The Boys. So she is going to be my Christy. For Stingray, I wanted to go with somebody that has a very strong presence on screen. Could probably fight a little bit. Maybe more of like a bare knuckle boxer sort of thing rather than just straight up martial arts. But I went with John Bernthal.
Ooh.
Can't go wrong with him.
I like that.
Yeah.
Very intimidating presence screen.
Intimidating presence. And I think he could play that Terminator part pretty well. For Nick is a blank slate if I've ever seen one. But I was trying to just look at him and try and get an idea of face-wise. Who does he kind of remind me of? I went with Sebastian Stan.
Okay.
Yeah. Sebastian Stan, obviously a better looking version of this guy Nick.
Sure.
But similar in faces. And I also casted his partner Mike. I went with again, just face wise, I went with David Desmalchin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting pick.
He's sort of sweaty.
He's definitely a sweaty guy.
I thought he would be good for that. And then I just had Christie's sister. Once again, got to keep it away from the whites. I really didn't have a whole lot of ideas for this one, but I went with she was in White Lotus season 3. People probably know her as a member of the K-pop band Blackpink, but she's only known by one name, and that is Lisa. So Lisa is my Anna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but I trust you.
Okay. I really only know her from White Lotus season 3.
Gotcha.
Like, I know of the existence of Blackpink, but if you ask me if I've ever heard a single note of any K-pop song, I would say probably not. So I can't tell you if she's good. Can't tell you if she's bad either, though. So
Hey,
I can't tell
take
you
a
she
risk.
is. I can't tell you she is younger than Karen Fukuhara. So
That's
that
what
works.
I was going for
Yes.
with the sister as well. Like, all right, and I know Brie Larson, I think she's like in her 40s. Like, I got to go a little younger. Chloe Grace Moretz is 29, 30 years old. Like, that works out.
So
Okay, good. I was going to say you were going to make me feel entirely old. With Brie Larson being in her 40s, and I'm just like, okay, she's still in her 30s. It's fine.
Oh,
I feel like
okay,
she's like a 1989. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah.
No, but it was like one of those things. Like that can't be true. I hope that's not true.
All right, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Good casts all around. I think I'd order at least a 22 episode run from Marks.
Yes, at least get it to 4 to 5 seasons. Get it in syndication.
Yeah, maybe a really. It's got to have a good theme song though.
Yeah, gotta have
The
one of those,
Undefeatable theme song.
and then the Christy character gets to spin off into another popular long living sitcom.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our episode on Undefeatable. Check us out on our socials, TikTampod on Blue Sky Threads and Instagram. We're at They Called Some Movie on TikTok. Hit us up at tiktampod@gmail.com. You can send us suggestions. Just want to generally talk to us over there. It's a good place to do it, but the best place to do it is over on our Discord, and the only way to get it on Discord is subscribing to the Patreon. Patreon.com/TikTampod. $1 gets you access to exclusive episodes, also our exclusive Discord where you can talk movies to us, participate in polls, and suggest movies to us over there, help us decide stuff, and help us decide what movies we're watching when we're not watching shitty movies like Undefeatable. Really helping us out, kind of encouraging some watching of cinema, I think we would be saying.
Absolute cinema.
Talking of absolute cinema over there is what's going on there. But it's a really good community over there. We're having fun just talking movies and video games and TV and music too. So check that out. Once again, that is patreon.com/TikTampod. All right. That's it, everybody. We're getting out of here. That was Undefeatable. The director of Undefeatable was Godfrey Ho. So for Dan Aquino and Mark Myers, this is Anthony Vecchio telling Godfrey Ho, well, you certainly made a movie, didn't you?